At this point in the year, it's needless to say that 2023 has been one of the best years for gaming that we've had in the past decade. Where last year we had some fierce competition from the two top dogs, the two being God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring, this year we have been getting Game of the Year deserving games ever since February. From shadow dropped games becoming instant successes to entries in some of the biggest franchises in gaming history, today we're here to take a look at what I think will be this year's nominees for the category of Game of the Year. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's start with the nominee we all can agree that will be on this year's list, which is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The acclaimed sequel to Breath of the Wild, another Game of the Year Zelda title, Tears of the Kingdom is sure to make waves in this year's Game of the Year awards. While only a sequel that builds upon the world and plot of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom has great enough additions to make it stand out. This is proven by the sheer amount of people who played Tears of the Kingdom once it came out and praised it for how much it improved upon the previous title and how much it actually added. When it comes to Tears of the Kingdom being nominated for Game of the Year, there is no discussion. Now, it's only a matter of seeing if it's going to be the Game of the Year in 2023 or not. At number 2 on this list we have the other game whose spot on this list is indisputable, which is Baldur's Gate 3. The third entry on this 2-decade-old franchise put Larian Studios back on the map, releasing with huge praise and immediate cheer from all gamers, even reaching non-CRPG fans for the first time. While it is rare to see a CRPG in the Game of the Year nominees, this only goes to show how impactful Baldur's Gate 3 has been throughout its release period and how big the chances are of it being the wild card this year. For the number 3 we have to put the mandatory indie entry in the list, which this year I'm 99% sure it's going to be Sea of Stars. The turn-based RPG I've already talked about on this channel, which made it to the cover of Game Informer, to Steam's front page, and to the PS Plus Extra Collection. Sea of Stars, like all the other games in this list, is one game that also came out to amazing praise from all its players. Not only for its fun gameplay loop, non-repetitive combat, and amazing sound and art design, which revived the spirit of old SNES JRPGs. This is truly a game to look out for not only as a nominee, but as a gamer. If you are interested in classic turn-based JRPGs with a modern twist on them, Sea of Stars is definitely something you should check out, and something we most definitely are going to see at this year's Game Awards. Now that we got the obvious out of the way, I think numbers 4 to 6 is where it starts to get kind of hard to make any predictions, since most games suffer from either huge competition or recency bias, which is why I am putting Resident Evil 4 Remake at number 4. It's no secret that this year has been pretty good for remakes and remasters with things like Advanced Wars, Dead Space and Metroid Prime, but the one that takes the cake in this category is for sure the RE4 remake. We need to remember that the original RE4 released back in 2005 was an industry-defining game. Its remake managed to capture the feeling it did back in 2005 and made it a modern masterpiece. With fully revamped graphics and gameplay similar to that of RE2 and 3 remakes, Resident Evil 4 Remake was everything people love from the old entry mixed with the charm and quality of the new remakes. While this might be a controversial entry for a category like Game of the Year, it is my personal opinion that it caused enough of a stir to be nominated for this year. For number 5, I have to give it to Starfield. Now hold on to your horses. Despite what everyone might think about the game itself, there's no doubt that a game with such a big name behind it like Bethesda, there's almost no doubt it's going to get nominated. While the game has been received with mixed opinions from the gaming community, the recency bias, which has proven to be an important factor both positively and negatively in the last few years, is enough to push this game up to the radars of critics, making it a highly probable candidate for this year's nominees. That being said, while I think it is most definitely going to be on the nominee list, I think Starfield has no chance of winning, because even though it's such a big game, the others in this list will just trump over it in the end. Now the last number on this list was such a hard decision because there are still a handful of games that deserve to be here, but since this is my personal list, I will have to give the 6th spot to Super Mario Wonder. Here comes the recency bias again. Super Mario Wonder, the game that isn't even 1 month old and has already sold over 4 million copies, is already being called one of the best Mario games to ever come out. Mario Wonder has been redefining what a 2D Mario is and can be, and has been seeing a lot of success in the industry, not only in new players but in old Mario veterans, which have been recognizing this game as an entry that actually improves upon the 2D Mario format, unlike the entries we've been getting over the past few years. Overall, this might be an unlikely entry given that we already have one Nintendo AAA title in the list, but this year is so packed that we'll have to wait for the 13th of November to really see what's going to be on the list. Now, I don't want to end this video on a weird note, so I think it's only fair I shout out all the other games I think might be, or at least deserve to be nominated this year if these lists didn't have any limits. So here are my honorable mentions for Game of the Year nominees in 2023.
The better you can connect your attacks and abilities. You are in total control during combat, but everything you do is...
There's something I'm forgetting. Something important.
You're not yourself.
You want to join us?
It's a powerful magic that should only be wielded by a select few.
The path we're on is...
What have you got, Isaac?
Half the Ishimura's in the red. Engines, hull, the trams.
Can you handle it alone?
Fix the centrifuge.
Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my opinions in regards to this year's Game of the Year awards. Don't forget, nominees are coming out on the next Monday on the 13th of November, and the actual event is going to be on the 7th of December this year. If you want to know what I'm personally voting on, make sure to keep posted for next Monday when the nominees come out. I'm going to record a video voting in all the categories that are open, but in order to see that you need to like, subscribe, comment, all that algorithm jazz. You already know how it works, but other than that, like always, this has been the Retro Den, and I'm out.